tell us, what do you think is going on with these people that are inside this picture? Who wants to answer? You can raise up your hand so Mr. Ajibade can call you to tell us something.
Faidat Badamosi.
Okay, ma, they look pretty tense. They look pretty tense, like they just can't wait to get the interview done.
Okay. Any other comments? Is there any other person?
Oluwatosin Oshinaya.
Yes, yes, ma'am. They look very nervous and they don't know what to expect, like the fear of the unknown. So most of them are just seated there thinking about the questions they are going to be asked.
Okay, that's good observation there. Okay, so I don't know how many of us have gone for interviews before now. We've attended job interviews. Do we have people like that? You can just say yes on your audio, so I'll know.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so do we have any person that wants to share their experience? Somebody's audio is on. Is there anybody that wants to share their experience of interview before we go into our discussions proper? Just briefly share your experience. It doesn't matter whether you got the job or not. Just share your interview experience with us. Anyone like that?
Hello, ma. My name is Tosin.
Okay,
Hello,
go ahead.
can you hear me? Ma? Yeah,
Yes,
I think last year I went for an interview. It was a post of business developer.
Okay.
Then I think when I got there, I met like 4 people there. They were all, everybody was afraid. I think it was even difficult for people to say good morning. They were all tense. So when I got there, I sat down. Then one of the interviewers came out and was calling us one by one. I was so sweaty that my palms were sweaty. So when people were coming out, I was trying to make eye contact to ask them, like, what are they asking? But nobody's really sharing any information as to what the interviewers were asking. So when it got to my turn, can you hear me, ma?
Yes, I can hear you. Was that your first interview?
Yes, it was my first interview there.
Okay.
So when I got there, I knocked on the door. They opened the door for me. And I was told to open the door, so I opened the door. I got in. So I knew I needed to wait if I was to sit. So they told me to sit down. So I sat. I was still scared. They saw it on my face. And asked if I had finished my degree then. Then I was still an undergraduate then. I was still in, I think, 300 level when I went for the interview. So when I got there, it was during, I think there was a strike in the university, so there was nothing going on in school. So I just took the activity to send my CV out there. So when I got there, they asked me some few questions. I tried to answer to the best of my knowledge. I didn't let that get the job because I didn't have enough certificate and what I needed for the job. So it really gave me an insight to what a proper interview will look like. So that's it, man.
All right. Thank you, Tosin, for sharing your experience. Okay, so let's go ahead. So according to Gary Dessler, interview is a selection procedure. So the reason why you are there is there's a selection going on. So out of the several people who come for the interview, the idea is that somebody suitable will be found. So it is designed to predict future job performance. So what the employer is looking for, who fits more. So if there are 10 people, like Tosin said, they were 4 or 5, they are looking out of these 4 people, who is the best fit for this programmer position we are looking for. That's basically what the interview is there for selection. Remember, the first selection happened when you send in your CV. Probably there were 100 people or more that applied. And out of the 100 or more, maybe we shortlist 10 or 5. Then we invite these 5 to come over. And then out of these 5, we shortlisted them because we think they have something to offer. So the interview will now tell us how suitable they are before the final decision will be made. So it is the most critical component of the entire selection process. So it serves as the primary means to collect additional information on an applicant. It serves as the basis for assessing an applicant's job-related knowledge, your skills and your abilities. So it's designed for that individual to be interviewed further. So there are some things in your CV, we ask you more questions. So all those things you have listed, we can ask you to explain. We can ask you to show some kind of proof. Maybe you said that you have Excel knowledge. We can actually bring a system for you to work and show us. Or we can ask you some questions that somebody who had done that in the past should be able to know. So, and that is the time where if you had lied or if you have exaggerated, those are the times where some of these things come out in the open and we know. And really, if you're lying, that is a no-no, even if you can do the job. If you're lying to come in, nobody will want to take you because that's an integrity issue. So some key terms that we need to take note of: employer, a person or organization that's the company that wants to employ somebody. That's the place where you intend to work, where you have applied to work. That's the employer. The employee is you after you have become their staff, you become an employee. As a person employed for wages or salary when you have become a member of that organization. But now that you are still sending your CV or you are still going for an interview, you are an applicant. That means you have made a formal application for that job. You're an applicant. If it works out fine after the interview and they take you, then you become their employee. Now, an interviewee is the person that has come to be interviewed, while the interviewer is the person who is conducting the interview. Now, you move from an applicant to an interviewee to an employee. So it's just a route that the same person moves. So when you apply, you're an applicant. When they invite you for the interview, you become the interviewee. If it's successful and they make you an offer, you accept, you become an employee. So that means you become their staff. Now, the interviewer and the employer are on the same side. Now, the interviewer can be the employer. The employer can be the interviewer. Sometimes the interviewer can be taken by a third party, can be a consultant. It's possible that the person interviewing you is doing that on behalf of the employer. So the interviewer may not be a staff of the employer. He may just be doing that for the employer at that time. So it may just be a short-term contract. But the interviewer may also be the employer or an employee of the employer. I don't know, I hope that's clear though. So the purpose of an interview is to discover the applicant's unique characteristics. We just want to know more, understand the applicant's history, make sure the applicant has the required skills, make sure the applicant is a good cultural fit. So sometimes it's not just technical fit. Technical means that you have the skills for the job. Sometimes, do you have the personality for this job? Many companies, beyond the technical skills to do the job, they have some principles that they uphold. So companies like this don't look at just what you have. Let's say we are looking for an IT person and you have your IT background, you can do everything we want as a programmer. But if we uphold integrity, for instance, if we uphold teamwork, are you a team player? So in a company where if you are not cultural fit, you may not get the job, even though you have the skills to do your job. For instance, if the company holds teamwork to a high level and you're not a team player, you won't get the job if they know that you're not a team player, or if you appear like someone that is not a good team player. And even if you don't get the job, if you get the job, you might lose the job if you don't, if you don't stand for what the company stands for. So that's why integrity is a big issue, because integrity cuts across many companies. They uphold integrity. So when you lie on your CV or when you lie during the interview, you may not get that job. In fact, it's your chances of getting that job, if it's an integrity issue, is very slim, because you're still coming in and we cannot trust you. So how can we trust you when you come in and we have bigger responsibilities for you? Okay, so for the purpose of an interview for the applicant, you learn more about the role. So an interview is a two-way conversation. So you ask questions. They ask you questions. You can also ask questions. know more about the role. You discover the company's unique benefits and offerings. If there's career growth, you make sure the company is a good cultural fit for you as well. There are some companies that even though they may pay you, but when you go for the interview, you find out that the work environment is not good. Even if they make you an offer, there's nothing wrong with declining an offer. You become the employee when they make you an offer and you accept the offer. Now, it is also possible that you can decline an offer because the work environment does not fit. There are places where you enter and you find out that this place, maybe you find out that the atmosphere, maybe people are working under fear, and that's not the kind of atmosphere you want to work in. Or maybe they don't, there's no teamwork, or they don't take care of their staff. And when you find out, and those kind of things, or maybe there's, there are places where it's all man for himself. Everybody is fight for your survival. So you see that everybody is a one-man race. So there's no teamwork involved. So if you're a team person and you get to that kind of environment, if you accept that offer, you may not enjoy working there. So sometimes too, it's not only employers that reject people. You too can decline an offer. Okay, so the interviewee and the interviewer, they have a common goal, is to find the best fit for that role. The interviewer and the employer, they are looking for the person that will do this job very well. And you are looking for a job that will do very well. So when you say you can do it, that's why when you say you can do it, make sure you can do it, because it's possible that you go to the interview and you speak good English and they like you. And maybe for some reason, they didn't notice that all you are speaking is English. By the time they give you the job, you'll not be able to do it. And before you know it, you still lose the job because they are looking for somebody that can do it. So the goal of the interviewee and the interviewer are the same. You are saying, oh God, I can do this role. They are looking for who can do it. So once there is a match, then that means you have the job already. So there are different kinds of interviews. There's one-on-one. That means one person is interviewing you, only two of you. You're having that discussion. There's a panel interview. This means that you are being interviewed by several people at the same time, maybe 2 people, 3 people. So these 2 or 3 people, 4 people, as the case may be, all of them are asking you questions. So you are the only person on your own team and they are on one team. So they ask you questions one after the other and you try to answer them. And then you have the practical interview or technical interview. This one means that you have to actually do the work, as in there is like an exercise part of it where you do the work that you're coming for. So let's say, for instance, the job requires somebody who is good in Excel, and you say that you are good in Excel. We give you something, a work to do. It doesn't have to be the whole day. It can be something you can do in 10, 15 minutes. But we actually test you on the skills that you're supposed to do. It's just like somebody who is doing furniture and you go for an interview and they just say, okay, how do you make this tool? Make this tool. Even if you don't complete it, start it. Let us know that you have an idea of what it is. So that's a practical interview. Then the assessment based is like testing you. So you go for the interview, they give you tests. There are different kinds of assessment. It could be hard copy, like they give you paper, you write. It can also be computer based. The questions are there, and then you answer your questions on the computer. So they assess you on different kinds of things. It can also be a dinner interview. This dinner interview applies really to very experienced people. So somebody takes you out for lunch or for dinner, and then over a cup of coffee or over the dinner, you are not discussing about your experience, about what you can do for the company, about your suitability for the role. So that
Excuse
is
me,
also,
ma.
yes, please.
You skipped group interview, ma.
Oh, okay. I will come back to that. Thanks for reminding me. Okay, so the dinner interview is, like I said, but it's for very experienced people. So it's still an interview, but it's happening over a cup of coffee or over lunch or over dinner. So the person who is interviewing you takes you out, and then over a relatively informal environment. You are now discussing the suitability of that person. So the group interview is that, like the panel interview, you are the one being interviewed, but by a group of people. Now, in the group interview means that the people who have come, who are being considered for the role. So all the applicants for that role are being, assessed at the same time. So this group interview, they can give you a task to do, and then people, some of the interviewers will now watch you. So it could be that there is a task to be given, or all of you can be there while they are throwing questions. Or you can be given a discussion. Maybe you work on something and you do a presentation and they see how you work as a group. They can be testing the same different things at the same time. It can be how you work in a group, or it can just be how you interact with people. There are so many things to bring out from each of these types of interviews, depending on what you're looking for. So I don't know if we have any questions at this point, or I should continue, then we'll do our questions at the end like the other time. Mr. Jibade, please help us. Okay.
There are no
When you
questions for now.
okay, so when preparing for your interview, you get your CV and cover letter ready. Remember that you have sent your CV, even though you have sent your CV before. When going for an interview, please go with a copy of your CV. If possible, more than one, but at least have a copy of your CV when you are going for an interview in case they ask for it. Even if they don't ask for it, it's your CV, you can still go home with it. And then please know what is in your CV. Even if somebody helped you to put your CV together, look at your CV and ensure that your CV represents you. Make sure that everything in your CV is aligned with what the interviewer make sure that everything in your CV is, you can defend it, as you can discuss it, and then research the role description. Try to, let's say they invite you for customer service and they input, you don't have the job description. You can go online and check duties of customer service and just have an idea of what it is. So you can have a discussion around it. Research the organization as well. What is their vision? What is their mission? What have they done? What have they been in the news recently? What are they known for? Just so that if the discussion goes towards that direction, you should be able to know what to say. Also, know yourself. Practice likely questions. The questions are online. If you type common interview questions on Google, you will see a lot of questions. Just the idea is not for you to cram the answer to these questions. The idea is for you to know these questions and be conversant with them and be able to have a discussion around them. Be able to answer it for yourself so that when you are in an interview session, you are able to, have good conversation. You are not lost and they don't sound too strange to you. Of course, there are questions that will still come up that are beyond the common interview questions. They can ask you questions out of the blues. You may think they are not related to the interview, but they may be trying to, it depends on what information they want to get. Sometimes it may not be the information in the answer, but how you answer it and how you react to unexpected things. There are so many things to test for, and any question can come from any angle. So when preparing for an interview still, you research the location. Like, for instance, we know Lagos is a big place. Have an idea of how long it will take you to get to the location. If possible, sometimes I've had interviews that I went to the location the day before, just to be sure that I'm not getting lost the next day. So that it's not the next day, your interview is by 10 o'clock. And by 10 o'clock, you have followed the wrong route. So you are missing somewhere. Not like you are missing, but you've lost your way and then you come late for your interview. Ask people, use Google Map. If you have an interview, Take the address, put it on Google Map. And Google Map gives you an idea of the location. Ask people what's the nearest bus stop to this place so that you know what to do in terms of, and then start your journey ahead of time. So traffic is not an issue. Traffic in Lagos is really not an excuse because traffic is part of Lagos. So don't come and be saying I was held in traffic. It will look, you will sound unserious. So don't let traffic be an excuse for you when you are going for interview. Grooming, you need to appear presentable. Make your hair, cut your nails, remove fixed lashes and nails. Well, the one thing about lashes and nails, if they are moderate, if they are, and makeup as well, all these things, remember what we said during the CV session, like the idea is for you not to distract. We are going for this interview, we want to discuss this job. We don't want a distraction. We don't want the interviewer to be thinking about my nails or to be thinking about my lashes, my artificial lashes and all. We just want the discussion to be on this job we are going to. So anything that will cause that distraction, we don't want it. And then keep a set of clothes or plenty for interviews to avoid unforeseen occurrences. Have clothes that are ready so that even if you receive an invite today and the interview is tomorrow and there's no light, you are ready to go. So let it not be that, because I received the invite yesterday, that's why my clothes are rumpled. Have a cloth, something that is ready, that's ahead of time, that even if I get you by 8 o'clock the next morning, because really nobody will ask you while you are there saying you don't have light, that's why you look crumpled. There's still another candidate who is there looking sharp, you understand? So even though your excuse is valid, there are other candidates who don't have that excuse that you have, and they have that same opportunity. So don't allow an opportunity just go because of an excuse, no matter how valid that excuse is. Okay, so like I said, practice possible questions. You can do it in front of a mirror. You can do it with a friend. You can even use your phone and speak to your video, answer the question, then play it back by yourself, and try to get familiar with these things. The idea is not to cram your answers, but to be familiar with the answers in such a way that they flow as conversation. Otherwise, when you cram them and you're speaking, you just sound like a robot. And nobody wants a robot. People want to have conversation with you. So some of the etiquette that we expect of you: be on time, wear proper attire, be well groomed, look presentable, look smart. Use a firm handshake, offer handshake when the interviewer offers, then you accept. Please don't offer first. Make eye contact when speaking. Sit down when you are offered, not before. Smile and be confident. Carry a portfolio where necessary. For ladies, you can carry a handbag, but carry a handbag that your CV can fit into without being crumpled. And then after the interview, send a thank you note, send a thank you email for thanking them for their time. And also remember to say thank you during the interview. So avoid heavy makeup, revealing clothing, short skirts, visible piercings, all these things. Remember what I keep saying. We don't want to distract from the issue at hand. We don't want to distract. Now, these kind of things may not be an issue. It's possible that what you're wearing is compliant in terms of the employer's dress code. Some companies don't even have dress code. Their own is just come to work, do the work. Now, even if you are aware that they don't have a dress code, you still need to come in such a way that you are not a distraction, or you don't cause a distraction for the person who is trying to interview you, so that the person will focus on what is at hand. Don't be late for your interview. The rule of thumb is to arrive 10 to 15 minutes before your scheduled time, or maybe 30 minutes. But please, don't come for a 12 o'clock interview by 8 o'clock, and then you come 4 hours before them, and you're making everybody tense and all. But at least if you're 30 minutes early, 15 minutes early, that's fine. So that, because for some interviews, when you come, they give you a form to fill. So if you come like 15 minutes ahead of time, you'll be able to fill that form before your interview. So practice good communication, speak clearly, be audible, Don't use slang. Like, you know, a lot of people, when they go for interview, they say you guys. You don't say you guys. That's like spoken English. That's not formal English. You are in the interview, see it as business. I'm here for business. I'm selling myself. So don't appear informal. You have to appear formal. See it as that I am the business manager of myself, and the business at hand is me. So you have to project yourself well. Don't use slang. Answer questions thoroughly, but don't talk too much. When you are asked questions, answer. If you're not clear about the question, ask, as in clarify questions, to be sure that your answer is in line with what they want. If you don't know an answer, there's nothing wrong with not knowing. But what is wrong is not knowing what you're supposed to know. That's where the problem is. But if you don't know something, I don't think there's anything wrong if you don't know it. Okay, so dress code, if you can see here, there's a gentleman and there's a lady here who are formally dressed. So for the gentleman, you appear with well-ironed shirts. White shirt is preferable, but you can also go in light colors. But the idea is, when you think of an interview, think of people who work in banks. That will give you an idea of how you need to appear. Just think of a bank staff. Even if the employer, the place that you're going for the interview, they don't have a dress code, you dress down. In some offices, you can wear Ankara on Monday, you can wear jeans on Monday. It doesn't matter what you're wearing. Even if you're going for an interview in those kind of places, please dress formal. Wear iron clothes, polished shoes, tie. Now, tie is optional if you have a jacket on. So tie and jackets are interchanged. So if you're wearing a jacket, you may not wear a tie. If you're wearing a tie, you can do without a jacket. But please, if you are an accountant, always do tie and jackets. If you're going for an interview in a bank, do tie and jacket, as in wear it complete, because that's the dress code in this kind of places. For ladies, ironed clothes, white shirt, knee-length skirt, polished shoes, moderate makeup, hair properly and neatly packed. Remember what we keep saying. We don't want to distract. We want the conversation to remain on the job. We want the conversation and the attention to be on my suitability for this role that we are talking about. We don't want my makeup to distract. That's the main goal. Everything what we are doing, even though you like makeup, even though there are other things, of course, when you become the staff of the company, you know how things are done there and you follow suit. And what your lifestyle and your personality can actually match what they are doing. So nobody stops you from wearing your full makeup or red hair and all. But please don't carry red hair to the interview. When you become their staff, if red hair is allowed, then you can do your red hair and gold hair. But for the interview, for interview purposes, be as conservative as possible. Okay, so we look at the interviews, do's and don'ts. When you are there, sit properly, maintain eye contact, be honest, don't lie, be audible, smile, be clear and concise. Do not give stories in your explanations, except you are asked for. If you are asked for examples, give your examples. Be clear on questions before you answer them. We've talked about that. Greet the interviewer or interviewers, depending on if it's one person or if there are several of them. Whether it's good morning, ma, or good morning, sir, be formal. Just when you go for an interview, see it as we are here for business. It's not like I'm visiting somebody. I'm here for business. Always say thank you and ask questions. When you finish the interview, thank them for their time, because really, many people applied. They selected you. So you thank them for giving you that opportunity to allow them to see more of yourself and how you fit for that role. And then some of the don'ts we are discussing today, do not talk about salary, especially on the first interview. They might ask you about your salary, but please don't bring it up first. Except maybe you have done like 4 interviews and you know that that's the last stage. But by that time, if you have done more than 2 interviews, they will ask you about money. So you don't need to bring it up. so that you don't give the impression that you are there for the money and not the job. So you are just there for the salary you want to earn. You are not really there to solve their problem or to help them advance their business. Do not say negative things about your previous employer. Even though they were nasty, they were bad to you, don't say negative things about them. Because the person interviewing will be looking at, okay, is this what you're going to be saying about us to other people? That's the way they will be looking at it. And then do not chew gum, sweets during an interview. Or even when you are even in the interview venue. No, don't chew gum and sweets and all of that. And please put your phone on silent. I'm sure there are plenty other don'ts that we know about, and then I'm sure you can be able to share them amongst yourself. But put your phone on silent. You know, when your phone rings and you say, sorry about that, your phone, the interview maybe maximum of 1 hour. Why can't your phone be on silent or even switched off at that time? If you mean business, then your phone should be switched off, because right now you want the person's full attention. You don't want him to be distracted by your phone. Because for every mistake you make, there are candidates that will not make that mistake. So you don't want them to choose the other person ahead of you. You want to be a good contender to that position as is at hand. Show appreciation for the employer's interests. Like I said, tell them thank you after the interview before leaving. Reiterate your interest in the position and the organization. Remind the employer about your qualifications. Follow up with any information the employer may have asked you to provide. Sometimes they may ask you, okay, send further information. Sometimes they may not ask you. So if there's anything like that, you send. If there's nothing like that, you can just send a thank you email, thanking them for their time and still letting them know your interest and qualification for the particular role. So I don't know if we have any questions before we do the practicals. No. Do you have any question? Mr. Ajibade, help us now, please.
One question. Can we compliment an interviewer during or after an interview?
It's not necessary. The reason why it's not necessary is they will think you are trying to suck up to them for the role. They will think you're doing it because of the role. That's why it's not really necessary. If you want to compliment, you can compliment the company. Let's say there's something, the company was in the news recently. Maybe they did a CSR and gave scholarships. Maybe during the interview, you can find a way to put it in the conversation to let them know that you know about the company and you appreciate what they are doing. But when you pay personal compliments, it looks as if maybe you want to get that person you want to be in that person's good books, so as to give you a positive assessment. It's not like it's wrong, but it's the implication of it, what it looks like. That's why I'm saying it's not necessary. Any other question?
Another one here, is perfume also a distraction?
Yes, please. Perfume is a distraction. So don't spray too much. Not that you don't spray. Just make it mild. Just enough for it not to suffocate. There are some people that are allergic to perfumes. Remember, there are people who suffer from asthma, who cannot deal with fumes. That's aside. Apart from that, when the perfume is too much, is also, there is the fume, it will also distract the person. It means that if you enter the interview room, every place, even though the fragrance might be good, but it's too much. Like they say, too much of everything is bad. So even for perfume, you need to also use moderately. If you're someone that likes heavy perfume, just use it moderately on the day of your interview. Remember what I keep saying throughout this session. We don't want to distract. The idea is do not distract. Let us keep on this conversation of this job. That is where we want the person's attention. So we don't want the person's attention to go on the perfume. What if the person is somebody that has some conditions that they cannot contain the fume? That's if it's a lot. It means that you may have to change your location, as I change your room, do a lot of airing and all of that. So that is a lot of distraction to happen in an interview setting. So yes, perfume can be distracting. So use appropriately. Any other question?
Trying to read other questions. When asked what is your salary expectation, how do you answer that without sounding too cheap or too expensive?
Okay, when you are doing your research for the company, also research what they pay, what their pay is. That's on one hand. Then the other hand, also you need to also know what's the average salary for that particular role. Maybe in other companies, you have friends. You need to share knowledge with your friends. What do they pay for customer service? For instance, if that's the role, what do they pay for marketers in this industry? What do they pay? That's aside on one hand. And then you also look at what do you want to earn? That's critically now. I'm not saying, of course, everybody wants to earn a lot of money. Now, if you look at all these aspects, then you put them together. You arrive at a reasonable amount that you can say. Now, but it's advisable to put forward a figure in a range. Don't say I want to earn 200,000. That's a figure. So don't say a figure, say a range of figure. Maybe something like, I want to earn between 150 and 250. So it means anything from 150 to 250 is fine. I want to earn 100 to 150. So it's a range. It's also always advisable to put a range. So they know, okay, oh, this is my minimum and this is my maximum. Or you can say, okay, I want to earn from 150 upwards. Something like that. Don't always use a figure, but don't let it not be an arbitrary figure of head. Let it be something that, that came out of research from what people are earning in this industry or what people are earning in other places. Or maybe if you know what they are earning in that place, you have an idea and then you put forward your amount. But always ask questions from other people who work maybe the same role or the same years of experience, even if it's not the same role, the same years of experience in other places. And then from that, you have an idea of what to say.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Okay, what do interviewers actually want to hear when they say, tell us about yourself? Are we to summarize our CV?
Well, in a way, you summarize your CV, but you add maybe one or two other things. For instance, if you have done things, let's say in your CV, you did not put your volunteer experience, for instance, that's the time to mention it. My advice about tell us about yourself is that sit down, like maybe after today's class, sit down and write about yourself, as in what you would want to say to a potential employer or an interviewer. Write about yourself, maybe half a page, a paragraph, and then try to understand it, get used to it. Not cram. Just get used to it that you can have a conversation on it. So let it not be something out of the blues when they say, tell us about yourself, and then you're thinking of what to say. Have that written somewhere. Get familiar with it and then say it. Now, in telling us about yourself, really, your date of birth is not necessary. That you're from Oyo State, you're number 4 in a family of 6. All those information, they are not necessary. What we need to know, remember our focus on the job at hand. What about yourself that makes you the right candidate for this job? That's what the employer wants to know. What is it about you that makes you the right candidate for this role? So that's where you talk about maybe probably your secondary school or your university, your degree, what you did as an undergraduate. If you don't have a lot of experience, you can talk about what you did in school, maybe your project topic, if it's relevant to the role. You talk about your past experience. Now, you're not like listing out what is in your CV, but in a conversation way, you are telling them what you have done in the past, what you have achieved, and all of that. So all these things, you should not be more than, you should talk about maybe like in a minute or maximum of 2. In 60 seconds, you should be able to talk about yourself briefly. But remember that you are still narrow it to what is it about me that is relevant to this job. So it's about your educational background, maybe the webinars you have attended, the trainings, the certifications, your experience, your achievements work-wise, and all of that. So there are some, you don't need to provide personal information like state of origin, local government, all those things, except you are asked, then you can provide that information. Any other question?
What about if your interviewer asks personal questions in the interview that puts you in an uncomfortable spot? How are you to respond? Like your genotype, family, and all.
What the fuck?
Well, you can answer that, but there's really nothing wrong with not affect the work in any way. You understand? But really, genotype or no genotype, the information, giving out the information doesn't harm you. Holding the information doesn't harm you anyway. So you can be as truthful as you can. And then if you feel that you cannot reveal any information, you can let them know that you are not comfortable answering this particular question. Just say politely that you're not comfortable answering this particular question. So they will ask you another question. But sometimes there are some questions you think that are not relevant. Maybe genotype, I don't really see the relevance. But sometimes somebody might ask you, do you stay with your parents? Of course, it's not relevant to the job, but they are not asking you that question for the job. They just want to know the level of responsibility you have at home. Are you the one catering for yourself? Do you take care of your parents? You know, so those kind of things are things that will put pressure on a staff. So that is what they want to know. What kind of pressure do you, what kind of family pressure do you have? So you may see the questions on the surface, it may not be relevant, but they may be checking other things as well. Any other question?
Okay, let's just take this last one before we go.
Okay.
I was in an interview where the interviewer was asking me some questions about my last employer that I felt was a bait, but she kept saying my responses wouldn't affect the interview when she sensed my hesitation. My question is in such a case, what is the best way to respond?
Okay, just that. Now, if it's a question about your previous employer's business, then you can politely decline because you cannot give out business information to somebody else, even whether you're still working there or not. Now, but if there are questions that is not really business, as in directly business information, maybe there are questions about you and your interaction with other people, you have to weigh it and see if it's something, am I giving out company information, like your previous or current employer information, which you shouldn't give out, even if you're no longer working there. So if they want employer information, politely decline and let them know that you cannot give out business information. But if they are personal questions, maybe it's possible they just want to know you and how you interact with other people. So, but for now, I don't really know the exact question, so I don't know which direction that the question was going. But if it's a business information, politely decline. If it's a personal information, then wait and see if it's something that you can answer or not.
Yes, ma'am. Can I provide some clarifications about the question?
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, she was actually commenting about the adverse effects of the project that the company carried out to the nation at large. It was a foreign company, so she was of the opinion that they are involved in so many shady deals and all that. So she wanted me to pass
Okay, so
comments that do I agree with her and things like that. So I
okay,
felt
so
it
that means you're
was
commenting on the previous employer's business. So you don't need to comment in that kind of situation because it's possible
all
you
right.
don't know they are shady. And even if they are shady, it is not from you that they will hear that kind of information. They can get that information. Of course, at that point, they already have the information. They just want to know your opinion. So
Okay.
it's not something you're not obligated to comment. So you can politely decline
All right.
any of such information.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so
1 minute, ma.
okay.
Oh, are you there, ma?
Yes, I'm here.
So, quickly, just for the sake of this interview session, I want you to shed a little bit of light on virtual interviews, because due to the COVID pandemic, there is a new need and urgent rise for companies to conduct virtual interviews, and we see that most applicants are not yet used to that. Can you just give some tips and acts on that?
Okay. Okay, so virtual interview is really, the only difference is that you're not there physically with the person. We have been doing virtual interviews before COVID. It's just that COVID made it compulsory that we may not have other options in some cases. So virtual interview is the one that happens online via digital platform, maybe Zoom, like where you can do interviews on Zoom, or Skype, or WhatsApp video, or even Google Meet. There are so many platforms where you can do video. Now, you have to treat a virtual interview like a face-to-face interview. So you appear on time, you dress formally. So the way you would dress if you were going to a face-to-face interview, you dress properly, you are well groomed. So if you're supposed to wear a suit, you wear a suit, dress formally, wear your tie, even though it's a virtual interview. You still dress corporately, even though you're sitting in your house. And then make sure that you don't have distractions around where you are having your interview. So don't allow, you cannot be doing an interview and people are passing, or people are, talking to you and you're responding to them. Let the people around you, if it's at home, if you cannot stay in a room alone, then let the people around you know that you are doing an interview. Remember that we treat an interview like a business meeting. You are the business that you're projecting. So you cannot appear unserious at all. So dress properly, make sure that you are in a conducive environment, and then ensure that around you, you don't have distracting things around you, like the background around you. I know that during the orientation, Mr. Ajibade talked about how you can have a background. So if you need to do that on your Zoom, please do so. And then if you are using other methods where you cannot do that, make sure that the things around you are not distracting. And then answer the questions the same way you would answer a face-to-face interview. Just treat it the same way you treat a face-to-face interview. The only thing now is that maybe you are facing your laptop or you're facing your phone and the other person is on the other side. But treat it the same way you would treat a physical face-to-face interview. That is just the tip is to, and then make sure you have enough connection. So if you need data, have enough data at hand. Let it not cut off during your interview. You don't want to cut off and start reconnecting. And then your time for your interview may not be the only one that they're interviewing for that day. Some people have slots. Maybe your slot is 30 minutes. By the time you're trying to reconnect, your slot has finished. And then probably you will be looking unserious and all of that. So you need to treat yourself as a business. And then as that business, you need to appear serious for that business. So I don't know if anybody has any specific questions they want to ask for virtual interviews, but my advice would be treat it as you would treat a face-to-face interview. Dress properly, appear online on time, answer your questions, accordingly. and all of that. Thank you. And then another, know how to use Zoom, know how to use Skype, have a Skype account, know how to, I won't say WhatsApp because I'm sure all of us know how to use WhatsApp. That's the easiest one of them. So please know how to use all these things so that you will not go to a Zoom meeting and then instead of speaking, you now mute your mic and you're talking and you don't even know that you're mute and all of that. So know what you're supposed to know for the virtual interviews. Any other questions?
Okay, we can go on now.
Okay, so are there other questions? Okay, so how do we do the practicals, Mr. Ajibade? We need to interview a few.
Our mock interview, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you said I should pull out some CVs for you. So I suggest that instead of breaking it
maybe
into,
like two because we're
okay, like two. So what I will do is I will share one or two CVs with you on the screen. Then the person that has that CV,
okay.
you have like a proper interview session here, right with them. So others can listen,
Okay.
then you correct some of the mistakes the person is making during the interview. Does that make sense?
Okay, yes, let's do that. That's fine.
Okay, so let me just share. Hope all the group heads are here because I collected your CV. So I will just share one now. Then maybe after that, we'll see what time can allow us to take, 1 or 2 or 3.
Yeah. Okay.
Just hold on for me a little. Can we see that now?
Okay, that's James Grace.
Grace James, are you here?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, so you'll be the first candidate for the mock interview. So you and Mrs. Nwaneka, so your mic should be on now. So you converse like a normal interview. Then for Miss Nwaneka, this is the CV here. If you want me to scroll past anything, just let me know.
Okay, just scroll down to the education. Scroll beyond the biodata. Okay, that's fine. I just want to see what she has done. Okay, studied chemistry, Nnamdi Azikiwe University. Okay. Okay, can you go down a bit to the experience? No, I think you have, I'm still reading, you have gone far. Okay, so this is classroom teacher. Okay, please go down again. Okay, Grace, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma.
Okay, so you're welcome.
Thanks, ma.
So we are going to be talking about a position for customer service officer.
Okay, ma.
You know what a customer service, what they do? Do you know what the jobs of a customer
Yes, ma.
service is? Okay, so please, can you tell me
Yeah.
about yourself and how you fit into this role?
Okay, my name is Grace James, and I studied chemistry education, but at the same time, I have a little bit of experience in sales and customer service. I believe I believe I'll be able to carry out this job effectively because of the experience I have in relating with people. As a classroom teacher, I've been able to handle my class properly because the classroom has a number of individuals who have various individual traits. And as a teacher, you should be able to coordinate the students properly. Some of them will get on your nerves. Some of them will be well behaved and all. And in a customer service job, you will get to meet different types of people. And I believe I have the people management skill required to handle humans. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so Grace, we are considering several candidates. Why do you think we should consider you as against the other candidates? Because they may have similar qualifications that you have. What do you think highlights you or puts you ahead of other candidates? Are you there, Grace? Hello?
Desire goals. For
Did you get my
instance,
question? Okay.
ma'am?
Go ahead, please.
Okay. For instance, in the last job I did as a salesperson, I had a monthly target of I had a monthly target to sell about 30 perfumes every month, but because of my strong interpersonal relationship skill and communication skills, I was able to exceed this target by over 80%. And also, I was able to ensure customer retention by ensuring that my customers were treated properly and were satisfied with the products. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Grace. We'll let you know the outcome of this interview, so we'll get back to you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Grace, there are some things you did well. Initially, you didn't start well, but you were able to catch up. Like you started with so everybody is tense. So it's good to speak with confidence, because from what you said, you actually know what you were able to connect your teaching experience to customer service, which is a good point. But you didn't present it well. But you were able to find the relationship between your teaching experience and the customer service. So that is a good one for you. But you need to be able to present it in such a way that is catching, in such a way that it catches the attention of the person speaking with you. But the fact that you're able to connect it is good. And then you also mentioned the fact that even though this was a customer service role, you met your target as a salesperson, which is good, because the fact that you met your target and retained customers is also good for this customer service role. So if I was an employer for this role, I will invite you back. So I will consider you I will take that the other parts where you didn't do well was because you were tense. Then on the other hand, on the tell me about yourself part, even though you gave all the information, as in the information you presented were okay, but the presentation You need to work on it. That's why I said everybody should go home and, tell me about yourself, the story you want to tell. Write it in such a way that it appears in the way you would want to present it. So it doesn't appear scattered. So you gave out the right information, but the presentation itself was not, what's the word? Not that it wasn't balanced, but it wasn't catchy. But it had the right content. So I would say, put that together, look at it. That goes for everybody. Look at it and then see how you will be able to present it in a conversation way.
Thank you, Ma.
Okay, so who is the next person? Let's do one more. If there's a one-page CV, please. If there's a one-page CV, so we'll just be looking at the CV, everything in one page.
Okay.
Otherwise,
Let me
the
get
2
one.
pages is fine.
Okay.
If there's no one page, fine, we can work with what we have.
Okay. Sorry, my system is hanging. 1 minute, please.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, my system is giving issues. Fine, soon. Okay. Let me share that now. Sorry.
Okay, I'm seeing some of what people are typing. Should you
Okay.
look at the
So I
screen
think I know.
on the
Or is it
cameras? Okay.
2 pages?
Okay. Okay. From just to the eye, this CV looks nice to the eye. Just looking. No, wait, let me see. Now, no, just scroll back up. I just want to comment on the CV on itself. Okay, the age is really not necessary, because what if I want somebody who is 25 and below and I don't get to meet you? There have been cases where we have some things we are looking for, but people that came don't meet that and they meet the requirement for the job. We give them the job. There are jobs where we need, maybe we would prefer a male candidate, but because we didn't put male on the adverts, even female candidates applied and they met the requirement, they were shortlisted, and later the female got the job. So that's why sometimes, putting all these things can work against you. So can you scroll a bit now, slowly? Academic qualification, academic consultation. Okay, now one thing I see about this CV is that you need to put your points in bullets. There are no bullet points, so everything is appearing like prose, but it's not supposed to be. So you need to, like, I conducted psychoanalysis of clients of academic projects. Is it just one? We don't need to read stories in your CV. Just highlight them in points and put your points one after the other. This is an practical interview, but assuming I'm shortlisting, I don't want to spend so much time on your CV. So that's why your CV needs to, give me all the points I want at the shortest possible time. And then don't need to use personal pronoun like I collaborated. You can just start with collaborated, negotiated. So bullet point 1, collaborated with manager, then the sentence. negotiated a key procurement with a vendor, which reduced cost by about 14%. So this sentence is okay without the I. So don't write your CV in third person pronouns. So let it not be I did this. Just say what you did. No need to put. So I'm seeing that this CV appears in the first person pronoun. So that's something that you need to correct. Even though and then you need to put the bullet. Even though you started every point on a new line, but it's not showing like that because they are not bullets. So I'm looking at it, looks like a story, but looking at it closely, I can see that they actually line by line. But when you put that bullet, it makes it more catchy. So this is just a comment for. Sorry, I didn't get the name. Can you scroll down? Let me get the name of the person. Oruku Gabriel. Okay, so Gabriel, please take the comments and then review your CV, so that because your CV actually looks good looking at it, but you need to put the bullet and you need to remove the I on it. The title already shows your name, so we know that everything here is talking about you. So you don't really need to put all the I managed dental patients records. So you can put that managed dental patients record, managed inventory of dental tools and equipment. So you don't need to put the I.
That was actually how it was worldwide. I just don't do something to I.
Okay, it was like that initially.
Yes.
Okay. So please take it back to the other the way it was, and then put bullet points. So let each sentence be a bullet point. Let there be a bullet point for each sentence. Yes. So please, Mr. Ajibade, can you scroll down? Let me just see what is in the CV before I start asking him questions. Just slowly. Leadership experience. Okay. Okay. Okay, so good afternoon, Gabriel.
Good afternoon.
You're welcome. Okay, so for now, we are interviewing you for a graduate trainee position. So for now, we don't know where you'll be fixed. It was after the training that we'll fix you to a department where we think you're suitable, depending on your performance. So can you tell me why you applied for this role? Why did you apply?
All right, thank you very much for the question. I applied for the role because I think a lot of learning from the best available plans. I believe the ABC organization has this, and through this role I'll be able to inculcate the policy and while I am able to grow and develop myself in the process in my career.
Okay, so tell me about yourself, Gabriel, highlighting your background and your experience so far.
All right. I'm a postgraduate. I have thorough training and substantive experience in supply chain and logistics management. I am forward-looking and enthusiastic with the ability to solve problems with the best of available, cost-effective objectives and available, tools. So, and I am, as connecting with people, I have good interpersonal skills and coordination skills. Yeah, I try to solve problems bottom line for the organization to the best of my ability.
Okay, what are your strengths?
It's flexibility, juxtaposed with critical and analytical thinking. It's
Okay, what do you
me
think
to
are your
deliver
weaknesses?
beyond expectations. As of now, my number one weakness is the fact that I don't really know how to say no. I love to, to help. I feel empathetic because I feel like if I say no to someone, they support their feeling and I'm proud. Or recently, I've actually discovered that it has a counter performance and productivity because I can't deliver at my best. I won't be able to meet my own targets. So recently, I've been taking online videos and participating in webinars too. That's such activities that actually tackle this particular kind of issue. So, and I'm laying down people's requests for like that was necessarily for
Okay. Okay, can you tell me about your degree project? What did you work on? And just briefly tell me what you worked on.
All right. What my degree project was I actually work with a doctor from Nigeria Institute of Horticulture, Dr. Okay. So we actually try to test the effects of a biopesticide on the insects that back in 2015. The biopesticide was engineered from fungi. So what actually happened? And apart from each involving planting, I have to collect data and inspect the plant on a daily basis in the morning and in the evening. So I understood this was a lot of task in my hand. So what I did was I created a time budget and allocated the maximum time I was spending on this task every day. So I knew this was going to affect my relationship with friends. So I actually informed them upfront, say, okay, this is what is on ground. You guys might have to deal with me for the time being. And I still managed to actually pay attention to my even though the time I allocated to them was diminished. And in the long run, finally, I finished with straight grades in other extracurricular activities.
All right. Is there any other thing that you would want to say? Something that may help us in our consideration of you for this role?
I'd like to know. I would just like to expect as regards the role. Well, what are the core areas improve upon right now, so as to know how I can tailor and target my skills and competence while I'm learning at the same time.
Okay, you want to know what to expect? Okay, so this position is a graduate trainee position. So everyone that is selected will go through a training.
Okay.
So we'll consider the person's background, their performance in the training and the tests will determine where we are going to post them within the company. So we have opportunities in sales, we have opportunities in the warehouse, we have opportunities in HR, in customer service. So we are bringing in a batch of graduate trainees. So after the training, we'll post them to different units based on their capacity. Do you have any other question? Do you have any other question?
None for now, other than it's been a great interview session with you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you very much, Gabriel. We'll get back to you on the outcome of this interview.
Thank you.
All right, hello everybody, we are back. Well, my first what to say is that Gabriel, you were not very audible considering that this is a virtual interview, I could hear you, but I had to pay attention to you. I could hear you, but if I had any distraction around me, I wouldn't be able to hear you. Now, when I was speaking with Grace, it was very audible. So I don't know whether it's your voice or volume. I don't know where it is, but you were not very audible. But I could hear what you were saying, but I had to focus and be able to get what you're saying. And then for when you talked about yourself, you went straight to your personal attributes. You didn't tell us your background in terms of what you have studied, in terms of where you have worked. You told us what you could do in terms of your attributes, which is also part of tell me about yourself. But
I totally make sure I already checked the poster.
Well, I didn't get that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So yes. So you need to say what you studied and what experience you've had, whether they are voluntary experiences, and then your personal attributes is good. You mentioned that, but just that you missed your background. That's just so that's just, and then you talked about your strengths, which is good. And then, well, your weakness, in a way, it is good, but depending on who is interviewing you, it could work both ways. It's good to be empathetic, but if you're not able to say no, depending on how I want to interpret it, does that tell me that you're easily influenced? For instance, if you are going to deal with confidential information, would people be able to get out that information if they pester you? Things like that. If you're not able to say no, will our customers or our competitors, will they be able to get information from you if they put themselves in a position that makes them look like they are in a disadvantage?
I get it.
So I'm just trying to give you how I can interpret what you said. Now, of course, it sounds positive. Empathy is a good trait. But coming to, and then it's also good that when you talk about your weakness, you let the interviewer know that you're working on it. And truly, you should be working on it. You understand? You tell the interview, you let them know that you're working on it. And truly, you should be working on your weakness and improve on it. So let your weakness not be something that will put you on a bad side. We don't have to lie. We have plenty weaknesses. So you can just choose one. And then, but positively work on them so that over time, you can overcome them. Okay, so I don't know if any one of us have a comment on the two interviews. What did you notice about their interviews? You want to comment? So I don't know if there's anybody like that. Before, we'll just deal with a few more questions.
Just raise up your hand then.
Yes, if you have a comment, maybe something I didn't say that you want to bring to light that you noticed. Maybe something they did well or something they didn't do well, but I didn't mention it. So you just want to highlight it so other people can learn.
Okay, Ifedayo Adebanjo.
Okay, good afternoon, ma'am. Okay, from the two interview, this is what I can say. Concerning Grace, for our interview, there was precision and it was concise. You could know that, okay, this is what she does, this is what she can do, and then you never had to ask too much questions. I say the reason for so much questions for the second interview was because there was no precision. You could not say, okay, this is marketing. Okay, this is customer service. Even though it is graduate training, there should be a focus. That's just what I just discovered, and I feel I should point out. That's all.
All right. Thank you, Fedayo. Any other comments? Is there someone else that wants to say something? Okay, Mr. Ajibade, if there is no other question, can you look at maybe 2 or 3 questions from the comments that we can deal with before we go?
Okay. Okay, this one, I have a question in regards to the CV we put a comma in our name section? I don't get that question, though. In regards to the CV, can we put a comma in our name section? I don't get the question. I don't know if you do.
Okay, I think I understand what the person is saying. Yes, you can put a comma after your surname. That's when you put your surname first. So if your name is Okoro, okay, let's say the CP we looked at then was Neka Obi. So if your name is Obi, so that means Obi comes first if you want to use a comma. Obi, comma, then Neka. So when we see it, we know that Obi is your surname. But if you want to put your surname first, it is advisable to put a second name. So we know that this is surname and these are your other names. So yes, you can put a comma if the surname comes first. But if it's your own name that comes first, please don't put a comma. Any other question?
I think that's all, man.
Okay. So are we done for today? Thank you very much for your audience. So I don't know if any other person wants to say anything. I'm done for today.
Do you have any other question concerning the interview session or probably even the CV writing we did earlier?
I think somebody raised their hand. I can see 2 participants raised hand.
Okay. Okay, Ezekiel, I was Susi.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ma, for this amazing session. I really must say I've learned a lot. Yeah, I just have a question, Ma.
Okay.
And my question is, can an interviewee ever be perfect before an interviewer? Because now, Mr. Gabriel Uruku gave a weakness, which of course you interpreted it in another way. You know, everybody has his own opinion to viewing things, the way people understand things. If I give another weakness now that seems okay, the interviewer can also interpret it to something else. So I don't know how you can try to explain that aspect to us. That is no matter what an interviewee says, would there always be a counter, response from the interviewer?
There is no perfect candidate, first of all. So what we are looking for is the candidate that fits this position more. Now, the decision to take the candidates can come for different reasons. Sometimes they may not even ask you what your strengths and weaknesses are. That question may not even come up. Why I highlighted that is that sometimes you may think that, you may think that your weakness is helping the business. Like, many times people put up weaknesses that look positive, but they may not look so positive. That's why I highlighted that. Anything can be, even what you put as strengths can be interpreted negative. Now, I'm able to interpret it because that's what I do for a living. You understand? So it's not that somebody is looking for a perfect candidate. There is no perfect candidate anywhere, but we are just looking for the one that fits. Remember that asking you about your strengths and weakness is just one of the questions. I also need to know how you fit to the role in terms of technical skills, in terms of soft skills, maybe your communication. Now, sometimes asking you that question, I'm not even looking at the answer. As in, I may not be looking at the answer you're giving me. I may be looking at, just give this person more room to talk so I know how he speaks. Now, I may also be looking at the fact is this person willing, as in, some people project themselves as Superman. There's something about somebody accepting that they have a weakness. It means that that person is teachable. It means that that person will be able to learn. Because if you know that you have a weakness, that you can work on it. If you agree that there's something to work on, there's room for improvement, then there's room for improvement. Now, there are people you ask that same question and they'll tell you they don't have any weakness. You understand? But we know that that's not true. So sometimes it may not even be your direct response that I'm looking for. I may be looking for what is the implication of what you have said. Do you agree, first of all, that you have a weakness? And that's why I was telling him that you also need to tell me that you're working on it and you truly need to be working on it. So that even if I may have interpreted it the other way, I can see, okay, that this person is doing something about it, which means this person is open to learning. But truly, there's no perfect candidate. And really, if you present yourself to be perfect, even the person interviewing you becomes suspicious. Because that person interviewing you is also not perfect. But the thing is that we have certain skills, we learn every day, and we are open to learning, to continuous learning. That's just it. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, ma, thank you.
Okay, so okay, Mr. Ajibade, can we take one more question?
Okay, this one, how can we know if an interview went well? Asking from the side of an interviewee.
Well, really, you won't know. There are two things. The interviewer can tell you straight up that you did well on the spot. And then the next one is just for you to wait for their response by email, or you can call. But on the other hand, you should be able to judge by how you answer your questions, at least to know if there are some interviews that you come out, that you did really bad. So you're not even expectant. But if you were able to answer your questions and you look at the interviewer, at least they appeared to be, interested in what you were saying and engaged through the discussion. At least that will give you an idea, okay, or at least on the average. But really, you cannot determine if you did well. And then sometimes when you're not taken for a position, it doesn't mean that you didn't do well in the interview. It might mean that they considered other things to pick the candidate they picked. So it's not every interview you fail, so to say, that you have failed. And remember that even if you did not get that job, there are other opportunities. Try to learn something from every interview. So let's say there's a question they asked me, I feel that I did not answer it properly. Go home and look for the answer, write it down, just the way you answer the tell me about yourself question. Try to get the answer to that, do more research, so that you will, for your next interview, you'll be an improved version of yourself. So even if you don't get a job, take the learning points from that particular interview. But really, you may not know if you did well. You may or may not know. If the interviewer doesn't want you to know, you won't know. They will still be smiling at you and they have decided not to take you. So really, it's a tricky question. But just try and do your best for the interview. But you can also ask the interviewer directly, when do you get a response? So you can ask them, when do you get a response? Like, okay, they will tell you, okay, we'll call you, we'll send you an email. If there is not specific, you can ask them, okay, usually some companies will get back to you in a week or in 2 weeks. So try to get that timeline. Try to get the timeline of that response. So that if they tell you 2 weeks and you don't hear from them after 2-3 weeks, you know that you didn't make it. That's in case if they never get back to you, because some people can move on and then probably for omission or for whatever reason, they didn't get back to you. So if that timeline elapses, you know that I didn't get to this position, then you move on to other roles. Okay, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, ma. Thank you, ma.
All right.
Thank you very much, ma. Thank you very, very much. I think we did the time. Thank you very much for your session. It was enlightening, and I know they've taken 1 or 2 things away from this session. Thank you very much. And giving us like 5 hours from your time, we really appreciate that very much. We really appreciate that. Thank you very much. We can allow you to leave the session now. I will follow you up via mail or calls to give you any updates now. So thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you everyone for your audience.
Thank you very much.
Right. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye, ma.
Bye.
Okay, participants. So there is an assignment for this session that you have to submit on or before Monday. So the assignment for this session please kindly listen, and the heads of department should listen and write it down and probably communicate it again to their respective groups. So everyone is supposed to prepare a CV, write a CV and a cover letter that is like you are applying to a job that you have always wanted. Some people have always wanted to work in MTN. So write a CV and a cover letter to a particular role. Probably you want to work in MTN and you wanted to always work in their customer service. So package your CV like that and a cover letter that addresses that role to that company that you want, and send it to us at, let me check, on or before Monday. Let me check the email I will give you now so I can track that. On or before Monday. On or before Monday. Okay, so send it to training@knowledgeexchangecenter.org and copy knowledgeexchangecenter@gmail.com. So submit the assignment to training@knowledgeexchangecenter.org and copy knowledgeexchangecenter@gmail.com. Send the assignment to training. Let me just type it out so you can get it. Training. Knowledge exchange. I'm trying to type that out. Okay. So training@knowledgeexchangecenter.org and copy knowledge exchange. So you have to submit this on or before Monday. On or before Monday. So before the first session on Monday, we should have all these this assignment in. Before the first session on Monday, we should have the assignment in. So the assignment again is that you should write a cover letter and create a CV and apply to the job or a job that you've been looking out to apply for. And I gave an example, maybe you've been looking to apply to MTN, their customer service or program assistant or whatever it is. So structure your CV in such a way that it applies for that role, and your cover letter that it applies for that role and to that organization. Do you have any question about this assignment? Does anyone have any question about this assignment so I can explain it better? Any question
sir.
about it? Okay. Emeka, you have a question?
No, sir, I don't have one.
Okay. Anybody, do you have any question? Okay, so you guys understand the question. So
I have a question. I raised up my hand, sir.
Okay.
Okay, so are we to the cover letter, are we to apply as an intern or as a full staff, because so that we'll know the content at which we'll use in our cover letter, sir?
So it depends on the role you want. Majorly, what you should be applying for at this stage is majorly entry level or internship. It might be an entry level position. It might be an internship position. Depends on what you are looking. But we are saying that write a cover letter and create a CV to an ideal, like you are now. I know so many people who have places they want to apply to for a particular role. For now, you can't go and apply for senior manager now, right? You can't go and apply for a CEO of a company because you don't have the requisite experience and skills to do that. So majorly it will be for an entry-level job or an internship position, an organization that you look forward to working with. So does that answer your question now?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any other question?
Thank you, sir.
Damilola, is that Damilare?
Yes. Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Please, I want to ask, the cover letter, should it be sent as a document or it should be sent attached to the body of the mail?
You can send it as a document, and you can send it as a body of the mail, but send it as a document. Let both the document and the cover let both the cover letter and the CV be contained in one single document. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do. I do. Thank you, sir.
So the CV and the cover letter should be contained in one single document.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Any other question? Any other question? So in the absence of no question, please, group heads, try to reinforce this within your group again, the assignment. It should be submitted from on before the first training session on Monday. So we should have all the assignment before the first training session on Monday. The assignment should be in. And for the job hunting strategy, you were given an assignment too, right?
Yes, sir.
So you were given a date to submit that?
Yes, sir.
So when are you to submit?
Tomorrow, sir.
Okay. So make sure that you submit that too. We'll be tracking that. So okay. So in the absence of no question, we all have the timetable, right?
Yes, sir.
Just 1 minute, please. Okay. So for this week, we are done for this week. So the next session will commence next week by Tuesday. That will be the week 2 of the GAP network training. So the first week, we were able to do the mind orientation, the personal development and career plan, job hunting strategy, CV writing and cover letter, and interview skills. That's what we did this first week. So for next week, we will do the emotional intelligence class. That is going to start the next week class. We did the teamwork and collaboration skills. Then we'll do creative problem solving. But the creative problem solving class, you know, it's on the 10th on your timetable, right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So on your timetable, the creative problem solving is on the 10th. We will be having it on the 11th.
Okay,
we'll be having it on the 11th. That is a Friday. So we'll be having it on the 11th. On the 11th, that's on a Friday. It won't happen on a Thursday. Then the time will be communicated to you before that date. So that's a change. So next week we'll start with the emotional intelligence. Then the following day we'll do the teamwork and collaborative skills. Then we go with creative problem solving. Then this week, we'll be communicating the group projects to you guys. We'll be communicating the group project to you guys that you are supposed to work with. The group projects are live projects that you are supposed to work with from now, then. Okay, so you'll be getting the group assignment, the group project soon. so that you can start working on it. Probably you get it, today's Thursday, you get it this week. You get it this week. So you can start working. The group project is what you guys will work on according to the group you've been assigned to. And you'll be making a presentation of that project at the end of this training. That is what will cap the training off and things like that. So that is for the creative problem solving. I'm just getting information now that we might still have it on Thursday. But any changes that is going to happen with that creative problem solving for next week, I'll make sure we fix it and we communicate that to you. We'll communicate that to you. Communicate that to you before that day. But next week we start with emotional intelligence, teamwork, and collaboration. Thank you for your time. And make sure that you fill the feedback form. Group head should make sure that each of their group members fill the feedback form. Send it, you have the links, right? Send it to your group members in your different WhatsApp group so that they can fill the feedback form for this session. Fill the feedback form for this session. We don't want to start going over that again next week. You didn't fill the feedback form so I'll be holding the head of the groups responsible for that, for filling the feedback forms and all. If there's any other updates or news that we need to get across to you, we use the WhatsApp or mail to get the message across to you. So I just need to ask you before we go, we are done with the week 1 of the GAP network training. What is your feedback so far? What has it been? Has it met your expectation? Has it met your expectation? Has it been up to what you expected? I'll be taking like 3 comments. So let's have your comments on that. Anybody wants to speak? Okay, Grace James.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Once again, please, I have at the beginning of the training, we're told that the team leaders will be changed every week. Team leaders and assistants rather will change every week. Please, does it still stand?
Yeah, it still stands. So next week, the other people are supposed to.
Next week.
Okay.
We are supposed to have Thank you, sir.
It still stands.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Any feedback for us on week 1 of the GAP network training? Your lady, it's been awesome experience. Luatosi, it's been an awesome experience. Chiamaka Ike, it's been nice. Anybody want to speak? I need to hear from you guys. What do you think we should improve on going on with 2? So Ifedayo, Ade Banko, yeah.
Okay, for me, I would say the program has been wonderful. It has really been practical. For instance, looking at the interview session, it was something practical, something you could see, you could learn from the activities of others. Looking at the assignments, they are really so involving. So I'll say it has been a really wonderful one. It's been awesome and it's a privilege. So the feedback I would have given concerning, I gave that before, it was concerning the slides, but I think it has been given also yesterday. It was slides for previous lessons were provided. So I think so far so good. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much, Keys.
Okay, you're welcome. Any other thing, any other feedback, any other suggestion, anything you noticed? Anybody? Okay. So, hello.
Yes, sir. And sir, I want to be clarify on this hunting job assignment. Hello.
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, so then there is this individual assignment number 3 and 5. I think he make reference of a self-assessment book, which I didn't actually get. Which book is he referring to? That we should refer to that self-assessment book. So I didn't actually get the book he was referring to, sir.
Okay, I think the best way to go about the job hunting strategy assignment is to chat Mr. Agogo directly. He's on that group on your on the, and I think he's even here. Mr. Agogo.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Okay, I think you should chat him up so he explains.
Okay, I've done that, sir, but he has not yet replied me.
I will reply you, or you meet with your group head if they understand it to explain it to you.
Okay,
you understand?
sir.
So you
Thank you
can
very
do it that way. Yeah. So any other feedback, any other suggestion for next week? Anything? Kaya de Bamidele. Yeah.
Right, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
So I just want to answer the guy that spoke that asked about a question just now. So Mr. Gogo gave, I think his note is already online on the Google Drive. So the lecture that I deliver isn't there slides. There are some stuff there that you need to answer the assignment that he gave us. So the guy asking about the pages he was referring to is on the slides. So the guy should just go and download those materials online and go through it. That's what I want to say.
Anything concerning the job hunting strategy, I can see one here. Just chat Mr. Agogo up for it. Then he will clarify on what it is and what is not. So any other question? Any other thing? So, okay. In the absence of no question, so any updates we have for you on the courses for next week will be communicated. Okay, Obia Geli, I think she has something to say.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
First and foremost, I actually want to appreciate you for appreciate KC family for this wonderful program. But I don't know if they could actually please help us increase our break time. If it could be like maybe an hour plus. Sometimes if like me for one, I'm actually using my phone. So if I want to charge my phone gets very hot while I'm using it. So I don't know if they can please just increase it a bit for us. That's just my only contribution. Thank you.
Okay. I wish we could do that, but there are so many things there are so many thoughts that were put in place in allocating time and putting the break session like that. Let me explain it to you. So when you are having an online session, there is high level that the people that start won't complete the online session. And one of the reasons could also be that if the break session is too long, let's say 2 hours, for example, people could get engrossed in doing other things. People could get distracted and sometimes forget to come back online. You understand? When the break session is too much, it's due to our experience of doing some of these trainings over time. That's what goes into giving. So when the break session is short, you know that quickly I have to do 1 or 2 days. Oh, I'm going back online in the next 1 hour. You understand what I'm saying? So, and also if you understand our line of questioning from the start, where we keep asking you if you have a laptop and if you have a phone. And these are the reasons for it, so that we understand that you can have a backup. If your phone can't do it, your laptop should be able to do it. Also, if you see that during the interview process, we keep asking you about light, we keep asking you about electricity situation. You people were thinking it was just a joke, like the question was a joke during those times. And these are the situations, because we understand that you might need to recharge your device and things like that. You might need to have a power bank as a support during these kind of things. I keep seeing people, my phone is on 2% and things like that. We expect that this kind of training, you have a backup, you have a support, you have power bank if possible. We understand the light situation. But also when we were asking those questions, we had these things in mind when designing the whole program. You understand? We expect you to have a power bank. If your laptop is not doing it, let your phone be able, let your phone be handy to do it. So I'm sorry that we can't extend the, what's it called, because there is so much put in place. And also, we've also sent out the timetable to all facilitators so they know when they are coming in online. So if I'm saying I'm increasing it to 2 hours, that means I'm shifting a class. So I'll have to go and meet the facilitator back that, no, your class is no more this time. You have to shift. And this person are people that are creating time for you guys. They are doing it for free, creating time for you guys to, out of their busy schedule. They are experts in their own. Someone just gave you 4 hours of their time. Someone that runs their own HR firms and things like that. So it's unfair on them to now go and meet them. We are supposed to make ourselves uncomfortable for them because they are the one giving. You understand? You are the one receiving. So majorly that's the answer to that. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question? Okay. So in the absence of no question, we've come to the end of today's session and the end of week 1 of the GAP Network training. Thank you for your participation and your cooperation so far. This with the cooperation, although not up to 100%, but at least for a start, it's there 60 to 70%. You guys have at least tried your best. I hope this continues in the following week and we'll continue to have an amazing experience. If you have any problems, if you have any issues, although you people keep chatting me at this like that, I may not respond immediately, but I'll surely respond to you when I have the time. Reach out to us if you have any problem, if you have any question. If it's not something I can answer, I will push it to somebody that can answer and find a solution for you on that. So see you guys next week. If we have any update for you guys, we'll surely reach out to you via the WhatsApp, via the email, via the text message, the way we actually reach out to you guys. So have a wonderful day. Should I say happy weekend? I think I should say happy weekend. Have a wonderful day, you guys. Bye.
Bye, sir.